Good evening and welcome to our Vesper service. Our theme for this evening is how do we honor our dead? And while that may not seem like something nourishing to our spirit in this time in which we restore ourselves, I want to propose to you this evening that it is important for us in our tradition to name and face truth. And in this week in which our nation has passed a terrible milestone of losing 50,000, now closer to 58,000 people with more than 1 million infected by this virus, it is important to create a space of authenticity where together we can hold what we cannot hold alone. So in that spirit, I invite you into our service of Vespers this evening. It is the custom in this circle to share together in the reading of words and the singing of songs, which we sing often in a chanting style to allow their simple truths to come into our hearts. So I invite you to join in our gathering words this morning. Every life is hope incarnate. Every human life is a possibility awaiting for fulfillment. Every person born is the most nourishing meal waiting to be served, or the thirst-slaking beverage after a long drought, or the number that is missing in the code that unlocks pure delight. Every person is the genius who will find the next cure, or the artist who will send spirits into soaring ecstasy, or the helper who will bring quiet comfort to many, or the teacher who will pass wisdom along as if it were candy on a fall evening. Every life is the stream that bears the craft, the ocean whose currents set the wave dancing, the night notes of the most divine music. Every person is the complexity that defies metaphor. Every life is precious, and none should pass unnoticed. I invite you to join with us in our first shared singing this evening, This Moment, written by our own Joe Gelinas.
Of now.
And now please join in our words of affirmation and offering. They will tell you that your value lies in buying and in spending. Breathe into the truth. Your currency is in your heartbeat and the silly twist at the corner of your smile and your passion for sunrises. I'm going to do that again. Please join in our words of affirmation and offering. They will tell you that your value lies in buying and in spending. Breathe into the truth. Your currency is in your heartbeat and the silly twist at the corner of your smile and your passion for sunrises. If you listen, you might believe you cannot exist without freedom of consumption. Breathe into the truth. What you need to survive is to be nourished in body, mind, and spirit, and the conditions for well-being and thriving. Whispers all around you will egg you on until you break, reckless for a burger or an hour by the ocean. Breathe into the truth. The ocean itself would tell you, from its infinity of patience, that waves will still be there, and will offer frothy prayers that you will be too. Truths abound like sea glass in these turbulent times, and one is this: we measure our lives not in human doing, rather in human being. Each life is beyond containment, beyond price, whose worth is measured in possibility. And to forget that is to lose the life-saving rope of truth. I invite you to join in our song, Be in the Silence.
Silence, be here now. Breathe in the silence, rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes to you in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence. Be in the silence, be here now. Breathe in the silence, rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes in the silence. Love is around you. Love here in the silence. Be in the silence, be here now. Breathe in the silence, rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes in the silence. Love is around you. Love here in the silence. receive in the silence. Love comes in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence. Be in the silence. Be here now. Breathe in the silence. Rest yourself and receive in the silence. Love comes to you in the silence. Love is all around you. Love here in the silence.
At the heart of our gathering each week is a time in which we share silence together. We enter into it through the gate of meditation and reflection. And I invite you on this particular night, when we are holding both our need for solace and our need to face what is before us, I invite you to find your breath. Our breath truly is part of our life. And I invite you to find it in whatever way works for you, with eyes open, with eyes shut, breathing deeply, or just as you normally breathe. Whatever way brings your truth. Settle into your being. Be grateful for all the parts of your being that are well and full of vigor tonight. And I offer us these words as we continue to celebrate our being together. I invite you to think about and with gratitude your own being, to take a moment and consider your own human being, the preciousness of your own self, the gifts you bring. I invite you to do that, to celebrate yourself, the things about you that are unique, the things about you that are special, the things about you that bring joy to you and to others. And you can do that in this space without anyone accusing you of egotism or selfishness or narcissism. Just simply say to yourself, these are the things that I am, and I celebrate them. Now I invite you to think about someone that you love dearly. And I invite you to celebrate this person in your mind. List all of their gifts, all of the things that make them so uniquely them, and celebrate each one quietly with relish and joy, savoring each gift that you are given by this person. Now I invite you to think about someone you don't know very well, but whose life has affected yours in some kind of sideways or glancing way, someone who intersected with you for just a time. But in that contact, brief though it may have been, someone who made a huge difference in your life. Think about the very special ways that that person touched your life, what is different in your own being because of it. Think about your gratitude for that life, a life that you really didn't know very well, but which mattered to you. Now think about the possibility in the lives that you do not know, in the lives that have not touched yours directly, but that also exist in this world with us. Think about the lives that you still have the possibility of knowing. Think about them and celebrate each one. Now I invite you to take a breath, to feel your feet on the floor, to feel yourself held between the expanse of sky above you and the grounding of the earth, and to take just a few moments to think about those lives that have been lost. We cannot comprehend 56,000 lives lost. We cannot even begin to think about that. But we can begin to remember a story we heard about one of those lives, or a person that we knew who was one of those lives, or we can think about someone who was part of the life of someone we know whose life has been lost in these weeks, not only to the virus, but to the other compromises in our medical systems. Think about one news account, if there is no one you know personally who knew someone. Think about one story you heard, one little snippet, and just try to hold that for a moment. As we enter into silence today, I invite you to feel connection with the value of each life. However, that is powerful for you. Letting the images of your own life, the life of those you love, the lives that have touched yours, the lives you haven't known, the lives that have been lost, to simply be around you and to welcome and celebrate them all. Let us enter into silence, which will end with the ringing of the bell.
This old world is full of sorrow, full of sickness, weak and sore. If you love your neighbor truly, love will come to you the more. We're all children of one family. We're all brothers, sisters too. If you cherish one another, love and friendship come to you. This old world can be a garden full of fragrance, full of grace. If we love our neighbors truly, we must meet them face to face. It is said, now love thy neighbor, and we know well that is true. This the sum of human labor, true for me as true for you.
And now, as we come to the end of our time, please take some time in these coming days to set aside a time just to be aware of the value of each life. You might want to light a candle or just sit and take a few deep breaths. But let us not let one of the tragedies of this time be our disconnection from the miracle of each human life.